September 8th, 2019, almost 2 years ago, a cargo ship flipped on its side in St. Simons Sound. The rescue effort, it seemed almost miraculous. All 24 people aboard survived. But the salvage operation has not been so fortunate.
The capsized vessel has been plagued by oil leaks, a massive fire, and multiple equipment failures, putting it months behind schedule and, according to industry experts, some $400 million over budget. On Your Side's Ann Schindler tonight investigates how the Golden Ray is now on track to be the most expensive ship salvage operation in history.
8th generation on the island. My life here kind of centers around the water.
Every day for 2 years, Captain Andy Jones has gone searching.
Y'all ready? Hold on.
Looking for something he hopes he doesn't find.
And see, we can see a streak of it is coming right off the ship here.
Pollution from the Golden Ray.
And now here we got a pelican right here that looks like it's feeding right in the middle of that sheen. Had a guy yesterday tell me he saw a bumper up here.
Where's your emergency?
The cargo ship just flipped over in the channel.
The moment the Golden Ray capsized, the clock started ticking. By law, its owner had just 6 hours to get an emergency salvage crew on site, stabilize the wreck, and prevent catastrophe. At first, environmental concerns took a backseat to life and death. The stakes were high. 20 crew members were rescued quickly, but 4 remained trapped. With temperatures inside the ship reaching 150 degrees, salvage crew Don John Smith cut through the hull to get the men water, food, and eventually a ladder to escape.
Woo! Yeah. Smith is probably the best salvage company in the world.
Captain John Conrad, master mariner, author, and founder of the maritime blog gcaptain.com, says there's good reason ship owners are required by federal law to have an emergency salvage company under contract.
It's an emergency. You got to understand, the longer it's there, the harder it gets, and you have to continue those services until the job's done.
In this case, that didn't happen.
Rather than let Don John Smith conduct the salvage, the project was put out to bid.
Pretty much illegal, but the Coast Guard has overriding authority. Coast Guard went up to the commandant. Somehow they got an exception to this rule.
That rule is OPA 90.
OPA 90 stands for the Oil Pollution Act of 1990.
Created after the Exxon Valdez disaster in 1989, the federal law created a framework for dealing with maritime pollution emergencies.
It is one of the most successful pieces of legislation ever created, and almost anybody you talk to will tell you that.
Paul Hankins is Director of Operations for the Navy's Supervisor of Salvage and Diving. But when the Golden Ray capsized, he was working for Don John Smith.
From a technical standpoint, I will argue it is a debacle.
He says they proposed gutting the ship with the hull intact, offering a layer of protection against pollution.
It's essentially a bathtub. Everything inside is contained. The whole reason for doing this was to prevent pollution from entering St. Simons Sound.
But the ship's owner and insurer chose a different method, a decision that would impact everything that's happened since.
You don't have to be a maritime ship expert to realize that this plan is terrible.
The new contractor, T&T Salvage, decided to cut the ship into 8 massive pieces.
But this was a car carrier, so it's not just the oil and the truck. They were cutting through cars, so gas tanks, antifreeze lines, hydraulic lines. It's a conglomeration of all the that you put in your car.
Don John Smith sued to stop the project from being rebid. That lawsuit was unsuccessful, however, and T&T Salvage became the new contractor. First Coast News obtained emails between Don John executives and the Coast Guard, as well as this confidential internal document. They accused the Coast Guard of allowing the process to be, quote, perverted by the ship's insurance company, the North of England P&I Club, which they say chose a plan with a significant pollution threat in order to cut costs.
The Coast Guard is not protecting us.
Conrad thinks the Coast Guard set a dangerous precedent by letting the ship's owner change contractors midstream.
The delay was huge.
Hankins agrees and says bid delays are exactly what OPA 90 was created to avoid.
But here we are 2 years later, and it's just unconscionable that we're doing a wreck removal that's relatively this simple 2 years into it.
The P&I Club insists that its role in the salvage operation is limited. A representative told First Coast News, quote, "Most of what is happening is being dictated by the Coast Guard, and the ultimate decision makers are the federal and state authorities." TNT Salvage referred questions to the Unified Command under the Coast Guard. In a statement, the agency said the project ceased being a salvage operation back in October 2019, when the ship and its 4,200 vehicle cargo was declared a total loss. The statement says the current approach fit the safety, environmental protection, and port functionality priorities, and noted an environmental barrier was built to contain contaminants. To suggest a faster way was possible and fit our priorities, the statement said, is speculation at best. The Coast Guard declined an on-camera interview at this time, noting the project is in the middle of a particularly challenging cut. The project has been delayed by COVID, in addition to one massive fire and at least 2 significant oil spills. It's also on track to be the most expensive ship salvage operation in history. Initially projected to cost between $100 and $200 million, it is now expected to top $1 billion. According to the industry publication The Insurer, the price tag stood at $800 million in February, and that was before the cost of fighting the massive fire in May.
It's a tough job.
Ray McElvey, the project's environmental response manager, says given the challenges, it's going as well as could be expected.
And I think with the size and the fact that nobody's ever done a project like this before, I really feel that we're, in my opinion, keeping it moving along safely and doing the best we can to prevent a bigger catastrophe.
With hurricane season underway, that goal is something on which everyone agrees.
You can't put the genie back in the bottle at this point.
The best case scenario we can hope for now is the ship is removed as quickly as safety will allow.
Ann Schindler, First Coast News, on your side.